Hello friends, welcome to the series lecture on network security and cyber attacks. In this module 3, we are going to talk about internet protocol security. What and all the things we are going to discuss is internet protocol security overview. What are the policies that is involved in internet protocol? What do you mean by encapsulation security payload, that is ESP? What do you mean by combining security association, internet key exchange, cryptographic suits? All those things we are going to discuss in this video. The main thing is we are going to talk about the two versions of internet protocol. The first one is IPv4 protocol and the second one is IPv6 protocol. Also, we are going to distinguish between IPv4 protocol and IPv6 protocol. We are going to stress more on IPv6 protocol. What is the main advantage of using IPv6 protocol rather than using IPv4 protocol? All those things we are going to discuss in this video. For this subject, you can refer to William Stelling's Cryptography and Network Security Principles and Practice, or you can refer to Thomson J. Morby, Cyber Security Management Systems, Conducting Testing and Investigating Instructions. For further information, you can refer to Cryptography and Network Security by Farazan, or you can refer to Atul Kahate. First of all, we need to talk about what I mean by internet protocol or the evaluation of internet protocol. Let us talk about applications of internet protocol. First application is secure branch office connectivity over the internet. The second advantage is secure remote access over the internet. Nothing but end-to-end security you have to provide. The third advantage is establishing extranet and intranet connectivity within the partners so that it will be a secure mode of communication. Say suppose you want to communicate within the office. At the time you should not use internet, you have to make use of intranet. The fourth advantage is enhancing electronic commerce security. Say suppose you are shopping with the help of Amazon.com or Flipkart. At that time, privacy should be given and security should be given by the network provider. Next, let us talk about IP security scenario. First, what you will be having is IP header followed by IP security header followed by secure IP payload. So the organization is going to maintain LANs, nothing but local area network at dispersed location. Non-secure IP traffic is connected to each LAN. These protocols operate in networking devices such as router or firewall that connect each LAN to the outside world. Secure transmission is also provided with individual user who dial into the WAN. WAN refers to wide area network. Such user workstation must implement the IP protocols to provide security. What are the benefits of using IP? So some of the benefits are when IP security is implemented in a firewall or router, it provides strong security that can be applied to all traffic crossing the perimeter. Next, IP security in a firewall is a resistance to bypass if all the traffic from the outside must use IP and the firewall is the only means of extrans from the internet into the organization. What do you mean by firewall means you are going to block the unauthorized access. So this is what I mean by firewall. Next, let us talk about routing application. In addition to supporting end users and protecting premises, we make use of IP security that plays a vital role in the routing of the architecture that is required for internetworking. So following out the list of examples, the router advertisement, a new router advertises its presence comes from the authorized router. Second one is a neighbor advertisement. Third one is a redirect message comes from the router to which the initial IP packet was sent. The fourth one is the routing update is not forged. So forging is a severe threat. Next, let us talk about IP documents. The first one is architecture. The second one is authentication header, that is also represented by AH. Third one is encapsulating security payload. They may ask you write a short notes on encapsulating security payload. This is very important. It consists of an encapsulating header and trailer used to provide encryption or combined encryption or authentication. The current specification is RFC 4303. Next, let us talk about internet key exchange. This is a collection of documents describing the key management schemes for use of IP security. Some of the IP services uses access control, connectionless integrity, data origin authentication. The fourth one is rejection of replayed packets, a form of partial sequence integrity. Fifth one is confidentiality, nothing but encryption. You're going to perform the encryption in order to maintain confidentiality. Sixth advantage is limited traffic flow confidentiality. Over traffic leads to congestion. Next, let us talk about transport mode. We are going to make use of protection primarily for upper layer protocols, that is transport mode protection extends to the payload of an internet protocol packet. So ESP in transport mode or AH in transport mode, this authenticates IP payload and selected portions on the IP header. Next, let us talk about IP security policy. So this IP security policy is from a database, that is Security Association Database, also referred as SAD, and Security Policy Database, also referred as SPD. Next, let us talk about Security Association. A key concept that appears in both authentication and confidentiality mechanism for IP is the Security Association, also referred as SA. An association is a one-way logical connection between a sender and a receiver that affords security services to the traffic that is carried on. So we need to talk about security parameter index, that is SPI. It is a 32-bit unsigned integer assigned to this SA and having a local significance only. So it will not be having a global significance, it will be having only a local significance. Next, let us talk about IP destination address. So what do you mean by IP destination address? Means this is the address of the destination endpoint of a SA, which may be an end user system or a network system such as firewall or router. Next, let us talk about security protocol identifier. This field forms the outer IP header, indicates whether the association is an AH or ESP, that is security association. Next, let us talk about security association database. In this, we need to talk about security parameter index, sequence number counter, sequence counter overflow, anti-replay window, AH information, nothing but authentication information. This one is ESP information. Next, let us talk about IP traffic processing. In this, we are having two variants, outbound packets and the second one is inbound packets. What do you mean by outbound packets? Means you can just go through this figure. So in this, what actually we are going to do is a block of data from a higher layer such as TCP is passed down to the IP layer and an IP packet is formed consisting of an IP header and an IP body. Then the following steps will occur. The first step is IP security searches the SPD for a match to this packet. If no match is found, then the packet is discarded and an error message is generated. If a match is found, further processing is determined by the first matching entry in the SPD. If the policy for this packet is discarded, then the packet is also discarded. If the policy is bypassed, then there is no further IP security processing. The packet is forwarded to the network for transmission. You are going to check whether the packet is valid or not. The fourth step is, if the policy is protected, then the search is made for SAD for a matching entry, and the fifth step is the matching entry in the SAD determines the processing for this packet. Encryption, authentication or both can be performed and either transport or tunnel mode can be used. The packet is then forwarded to the network for transmission. Next, in the case of inbound packets, what we are going to do is, first, IP security determines whether this is an unsecured IP packet or one that has ESP or AH header or trailers by examining the IP protocol fields, that is IPv4, or next header field, that is IPv6. Remember, IPv4 is also called as IP protocol field and IPv6 is called as next header field. So these two things are very important. N number of times they have asked the questions based on IPv4 and IPv6. Mainly they will be asking you what is the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 protocol. For this, let me just go through the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 protocol. In the case of IPv4 protocol, it is 32-bit addressable, whereas in the case of IPv4 protocol, it is 128-bit addressable. In the case of IPv4 protocol, it is decimal representation, but in the case of IPv6 protocol, it is hexadecimal representation. In the case of IPv4 protocol, it is 4 blocks each of 8 bits. In the case of IPv6 protocol, it is 8 blocks each of 16 bits. So you should know what is the difference between IPv4 protocol and IPv6 protocol. Next, let us talk about encapsulating security payload. So this is used to provide confidentiality, data origin, authentication, connectionless integrity and anti-replay service, a form of partial sequence integrity and a limited traffic flow confidentiality, so that you are going to reduce the congestion. So this is very important. A set of services provided depends on options selected at the time of security association, that is referred as SA, establishment, and on the location of the implementation in a network topology. So the ESP format means you will be having, the first one is integrity check value. On the above row you will be having padding. The third row will be payload data. The fourth row will be a sequence number. The fifth row will be, or the top row will be, security parameter index, also referred as SPI. This is top level format. One more format is substructure of a payload data. In that, the first one will be SPI, nothing but top level. Bottom to that you will be having a sequence number. Below to it you will be having initialization value, that is an optional. And below to that you will be having best of payload variable. Next to it you will be having TFC padding, that is optional or a variable, and you will be having padding. Padding you will be doing by varying up to 0 to 255 bytes. So the top level format of an ESP packet, it contains the following field. The first one is security parameter index, which is of 32 bits. Sequence number, it is also of 32 bit. Payload data, which is a variable. Padding 0 to 255 bytes you can pad. Pad length, which is of 8 bits. Next header, also it is of 8 bits. Integrity check value, again it is a variable. Next, let us talk about padding. So what do you mean by padding means? It serves several purposes. The first one is, if an encryption algorithm requires the plain text to be a multiple of some number of bytes, example, the multiple of a single block of a block cipher, the padding field is used to expand the plain text consisting of the payload data, padding, pad length, and next header fields to the required length. So this ESP format requires that the pad length and next header fields are rightly aligned within a 32-bit word, equivalently the cipher text. Next, this is very important. As I discussed, you should know the difference between IPv4 protocol and IPv6 protocol. Mainly, you should know the format of IPv4 protocol and IPv6 protocol. In the case of IPv4 protocol, you will be having original IP header TCP data, but in the case of IPv6 protocol, you will be having original IP header, also the extension header if present, TCP. So this is of 32-bit wide and this one is of 128-bit wide. So this is decimal representation and this is hexadecimal representation. Packet length also will vary. Next, the IP security architecture document mandates support for two types of key management. The first one is manual, the second one is automated. In the case of manual key management, a system administrator manually configures each system with its own key and with the key of others communicating system. This is practical for small relative static environments. But if I am talking about a practical scenario, manual key management you are not going to prefer, you are going to make use of automatic key management. So in the case of automatic key management, an automated system enables the on-demand creation of key for SA and facilitates the use of keys in a large distributed system with an evolving configuration. The first one is Oakley Key Determination Protocol and the second one is Internet Protocol or Internet System Association, also referred as ISA, and Key Management Protocol, that is ISA KMP. Next, let us talk about key determination protocol. The first one is IKE key determination is a refinement of Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. So this algorithm is very important. N number of times they have asked. what do you mean by Diffie-Hellman algorithm? So you should be in a position to explain Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. So the formula is three different authentication methods can be used with the IKE key determination. The first one is digital signature and the second one is public key encryption. The third one is symmetrical key encryption. What do you mean by digital signature? Means the exchange is authenticated by signing a mutually obtainable hash. Each party encrypts the hash with the private key. Each party will be having their own private key. They are going to encrypt it. The hash is generated over important parameter such as user ID and nonce. In the case of public key encryption, the exchange is authenticated by encrypting parameters such as user IDs and nonce with the sender's private key. So in the case of digital signature, you're going to make use of sender key as well as receiver key, but in the case of public key encryption, we are going to make use of sender private key. In the case of symmetric key encryption, a key derived by some out of band mechanisms can be used to authenticate the exchange of symmetric encryption of exchange parameters. The IKE format, which is going to include initiator SPI, which is of 64-bit, responder SPI, which is of 64-bit, next payload, which is of 8-bit, major version 4-bit, minor version 4-bit, exchange type, which is 8-bit, the flags is also of 8-bit wide. Message ID is of 32-bit wide, length is of 32-bit wide. And IKE payload types, you will be having three types. The first one is proposal, the second one is transform, and the third one is attribute. Now, what do you mean by proposal? In the case of proposal, this substructure includes a proposal number, a proposal ID, AH, ESP, and IKE. So in the case of transform, different protocols support different transform types. The transforms are used primarily to define cryptographic algorithms that is to be used with a particular protocol, nothing but it is protocol based. In the case of attribute, each transform may include attributes that modify or complete the specification of the transform. An example is a key length. Next, let us talk about the three categories of secret key algorithms. The first one is encryption and the second one is message authentication. Third one is pseudo-random function. So in the case of encryption, authenticated encryption is provided using the GCM mode with either 128-bit or 256 AES key. So in the case of message authentication for ESP, if only authentication is required, then GMAC is used. So in the case of GMAC is simply the authentication portion of GMC. So pseudo-random function already we have discussed in previous video. So in this video I have discussed IP security. In IP security I have talked about the difference between IPv4 protocol and IPv6 protocol. Also I have discussed with respect to IP security overview, IP security policy, ESP, Combining Security Association, that is CSA, Internet Key Exchange, that is IKE, cryptographic suits. All those things I have discussed in this video. In the next video, let us talk about cyber network security concepts. If you followed with my lecture, please give it a big thumbs up. Also share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Precise Study. All the best for your exams. Thank you.